everyone, and welcome to a new video here on the channel Magical Pensieve. Today's video is part 2 of J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, designed and illustrated by MinaLima. If you want to watch part 1 of taking a closer look at this book, where we have a look on chapters 1 to 8, have a look in the description box down below. It will be linked there. So today, the first chapter is chapter 9, The Writing on the Wall. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. So we have this school corridor, and here we see students and professors. I think this could be Professor McGonagall, and this looks like Dumbledore. And we have some water on the floor, and here is the petrified Mrs. Norris, the cat of Mr. Filch. What's going on here? What's going on? Attracted, no doubt, by Malfoy's shout, Argus Filch came shouldering his way through the crowd. Then he saw Mrs. Norris and fell back, clutching his face in horror. My cat! My cat! What happened to Mrs. Norris? He shrieked. Even more pictures of Gilderoy Lockhart. I think they're so funny. And no student in Hogwarts has an idea what actually is the Chamber of Secrets, and there's no book about it, because all books about Hogwarts history, all copies have been taken out of the library, and normally when the students are having history of magic, they fell asleep, but this time their teacher of history of magic, who is the ghost Professor Binns, tell them about the legend of the Chamber of Secrets, because the story goes together with the foundation of Hogwarts. And Hogwarts was founded by Godric Gryffindor, Rowena Ravenclaw, Helga Hufflepuff, and Salazar Slytherin. Here we have some spiders. And this is Moaning Myrtle, and she's haunting the girls' bathroom. And here we can see shadows of Harry, Hermione and Ron. More spiders. The Rogue Bludger. Chapter 10. Since the disastrous episode of the Pixies, Professor Lockhart had not brought live creatures to class. Instead, he read passages from his book to them and sometimes reenacted some of the more dramatic bits. He usually picked Harry to help him with these reconstructions. This looks like Lockhart's quill. Wow! I think this is the first view we get of the Hogwarts library. And here we have Madame Pince, the librarian, with the trio, and I don't know if you can see it, maybe I should give you a better look of it. Hermione is showing Madame Pince a note because, yeah, the trio, they have a plan, because now they know a bit about the Chamber of Secrets and the legend behind it, and they think that Draco Malfoy knows even more, and they came up with the plan that somehow they need to get more information from Draco, but they can't just ask him, so they decided to brew some polyjuice potion and transform into Slytherin students, so that Draco would tell them everything he knows. And because polyjuice potion is not a very easy, very common potion, they need to find the book most potent potions that they can't get their hands on unless someone writes them a note and shows it to Madame Pince. And of course they ask Gilderoy Lockhart because he's so determined to give autographs. And this is the book page. The polyjuice potions. There we can see some ingredients like knotgrass, or a bit of a person that you want to transform in. This is the Quidditch game. We have some Gryffindors, and this looks like Harry. And of course, the chapter is called The Rogue Bludger. And there's an incident, and Harry loses his bones in his arm, and then he needs to grow them back with a potion called Skelligrow. And because Harry has to stay overnight, here we see Harry inside the hospital wing, and another attack had happened, and this time Colin Creevey, another Gryffindor, was petrified and was brought to the hospital wing. This is great. Here we see Hermione and Ron brewing some polyjuice potions in the girls' bathroom. Chapter 11, The Dueling Club. Harry woke up on Sunday morning to find the dormitory blazing with winter sunlight, and his arm reboned but very stiff. He sat up quickly and looked over at Colin's bed, but it had been blocked from view by high curtains Harry had changed behind yesterday. Seeing that he was awake, Madame Pomfrey came bustling over with a breakfast tray, and then began bending and stretching his arm and fingers. Oh, I remember that. Because the trio needed some very special potion ingredients for the polyjuice potion, they were thinking, oh, how can we get them? And they came up with the idea to steal them from Snape when they're having potions class, and Harry plays a trick. He throws some filibuster firework inside Goyle's cauldron, and Goyle's cauldron explodes. And then Hermione gets a bit of time to steal the potion ingredients they are so desperate to get. Oh yes, so now the trio is taking part in the dueling club, and Draco and Harry are dueling, and Malfoy says the charm serpent Saltia, and a snake appears. And at this evening, Harry learns that he could speak with snakes because he's a parcel mouth, and it's not very common in the wizarding world that someone could speak to snakes. Here we have the full scene in the Great Hall at the dueling club. So we have Draco Malfoy, Harry Potter, and this is a Hufflepuff student called Justin Finch-Fletchley, and there we have the snake who tries in some way to get near Justin Finch-Fletchley and attack him, and Harry is talking to the snake, preventing the snake from attacking Justin. Oh, how cool is that? There we have some mandrakes ready for winter. Here we have Hagrid. And another attack had happened, so Justin was petrified, and here we have Nearly Headless Nick and some spiders that are fleeing from the spot. And because of the attack, Harry was asked to visit Dumbledore's office, and at the front of the staircase to Dumbledore's office is a griffin, and then Professor McGonagall is showing Harry the way to Dumbledore's office. Great paperwork, isn't it? Well done, MinaLima. Chapter 12, The Polyjuice Potion. Here we have Harry inside the headmaster's office, and someone or something just burst into flames. They stepped off the stone staircase at the top, and Professor McGonagall rapped on the door. It opened silently, and they entered. Professor McGonagall told Harry to wait and left him there, alone. Harry looked around. One thing was certain. Of all the teachers' offices Harry had visited so far this year, Dumbledore was by far the most interesting. And this is the animal that bursts into flames, because when a phoenix is old, he bursts into flames and then he is reborn from the ashes. And this is Dumbledore's phoenix, called Fawkes. Christmas in the Gryffindor dormitory. We have Hedwig and Scabbers too. And they're celebrating Christmas, opening their presents. And finally, the Polyjuice potion's ready to be used. And Hermione filled up 2 sweets with Polyjuice potions because they hope that Crabbe and Goyle will eat them. No, she didn't fill them up with Polyjuice potion. No, she filled them up with a potion that make them sleep, so that Harry and Ron could take over their roles and meet Draco, because Crabbe and Goyle are sleeping. That's the idea. And so the trio are drinking Polyjuice potion, and then they transform into Slytherin students. I think this is such a great thing because it really shows the transformation process. And Ron and Harry, they changed into Crabbe and Goyle, and this allowed them to visit the Slytherin common room, asking Draco about the Chamber of Secrets. But Draco said that he's not the heir of Slytherin and he does not know who actually is the heir and who opened the Chamber of Secrets. He only said that the Chamber of Secrets had been opened, I think, 50 years ago. Yeah, and after Ron and Harry came back to the girls' bathroom and they transformed back into their normal bodies, they discovered that something went wrong with Hermione's Polyjuice potion, because she not transformed into a Slytherin student but into a cat. Chapter 13, The Very Secret Diary. Here we have Harry sitting on his bed, discovering the very secret diary. Hermione remained in the hospital wing for several weeks. There was a flurry of rumors about her disappearance when the rest of the school arrived back from their Christmas holidays, because of course everyone thought that she had been attacked. Here we have Harry, Ron and Moaning Myrtle, and Moaning Myrtle are telling them that someone threw a book at her. In 1942, for special services to the school, T.M. Riddle. Oh, how great is that? I totally forgot about it because it's not in the films, but it's such a funny sequence in the book. Valentine's Day organized by Gilderoy Lockhart. It's so great, it always makes me laugh. Here we have the book, which is in fact a diary, and there are no words or sentences written inside the diary, but the diary is a window to the past, and it takes Harry into the past, seeing the headmaster Amundo Dippet, who is talking to Tom Riddle, who is a prefect at Hogwarts at that time, following them, and Riddle meet Hagrid, and he actually accuses Hagrid that he has the monster that is responsible for the death of a girl at Hogwarts, and Hagrid's animal or pet is a spider. It was Hagrid, Ron. Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets 50 years ago. Chapter 14, Cornelius Fudge. The trio in the Gryffindor common room. Harry, Ron and Hermione had always known that Hagrid had an unfortunate liking for large and monstrous creatures. During that first year at Hogwarts, he had tried to raise a dragon in his little wooden house, and it would be a long time before they forgot the giant three-headed dog he'd christened Fluffy. Yeah, there's some chaos in the Gryffindor tower because someone stole the diary. Here we have another look at the hospital wing, and we have Harry and Ron here who are visiting Hermione, who had been petrified as well. And because of those attacks, the students are just allowed to stay inside their common rooms after a certain hour, and Ron and Harry are really keen to visit Hagrid. They are using the invisibility cloak. To get to Hagrid. And when they are there, they are asking Hagrid about the Chamber of Secrets, and then suddenly two visitors turn up at Hagrid's doorstep: Albus Dumbledore and Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. And the Minister of Magic tells Hagrid that because of the attacks he has to go to a prison called Azkaban. And before Hagrid leaves, he tells Ron and Harry to follow the spiders to get more information. Chapter 15, Aragog. This is a beautiful picture. In fact, I think that's my favorite so far. Beautiful. But something is missing. Summer was creeping over the grounds around the castle. Sky and lake alike turned periwinkle blue, and flowers, large as cabbages, burst into bloom in the greenhouses. But with no Hagrid visible from the castle windows, striding the grounds with Fang at his heels, the scene didn't look right to Harry. No better, in fact, than the inside of the castle, where things were so horribly wrong. Harry and Ron had tried to visit Hermione, but visitors were now barred from the hospital wing. And then Harry and Ron are following the spiders into the Forbidden Forest, where they meet Hagrid's friend Aragog, the big spider Harry saw in the diary 50 years ago, and Aragog actually tells them that he's not the monster in the Chamber of Secrets, and that even spiders flee from it. And then Harry, Ron, and Fang are rescued out of the spider, are rescued from the spiders by the Fort Anglia. And when Harry's back in bed, he's thinking about what they learned, because Aragog said that a girl had been killed in the bathroom, and he's like, hang on, we know someone who's living in the bathroom. It's Moaning Myrtle. Maybe she was the girl who had been murdered 50 years ago. Chapter 16. The Chamber of Secrets. Here we have Ron, Ginny, and Harry. Looks like they're sitting in the Great Hall having breakfast. All those times we were in that bathroom and she was just 3 toilets away, said Ron bitterly at breakfast next day. And we could have asked her, and now... Finally, Ron and Harry are allowed to visit Hermione in the hospital wing, and they see that Hermione has something in her hand. And they open it and they find a page torn from an old library book about the King of Serpents, the Basilisk. And now they understand why Harry hears those voices inside the castle, because he's the only one who can hear and speak with snakes. He's the only one who is a parcel tongue. So the monster inside the chamber must be a basilisk. And Hermione gives them another clue by writing down pipes, because this is how the basilisk is moving inside the castle. And because they know so, Harry and Ron now know many things they want to tell the teachers, but they're hiding in the staff room, and they learn it has happened, she told the silent staff room. A student had been taken by the monster right into the chamber itself. And it's Ron's younger sister Ginny that had been taken into the chamber. And they also learned that now it is Gilderoy Lockhart who should rescue Ginny, and because they will have quite some information that is essential for rescuing Ginny, they are heading to Lockhart's office or Lockhart's room, and they want to tell him everything they knew. But when they arrive, it looks like Gilderoy Lockhart wants to leave the castle rather than going on his mission rescuing Ginny. And then Lockhart, Ron and Harry are visiting Moaning Myrtle in the bathroom, and they find the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets, and they want to get there, and they are using the pipes. Here we have the giant snake skin of the basilisk. Here we see Harry in front of the door. Chapter 17. The Heir of Slytherin. This is the Chamber of Secrets. It is like bluish, greenish, turquoise color. And this is a big statue of Salazar Slytherin, who installed the Chamber of Secrets inside the castle. He was standing at the end of a very long, dimly lit chamber. Towering stone pillars entwined with more carved serpents rose to support a ceiling lost in darkness, casting long black shadows through the odd greenish gloom that filled the place. His heart beating very fast, Harry stood listening to the chill silence. Could the basilisk be lurking in a shadowy corner behind a pillar? And where was Ginny? Here we have Harry sitting next to Ginny, and another person appears. It is Tom Riddle or Tom Marvolo Riddle, and Harry learns that Tom actually is Lord Voldemort. And because Harry needs to stand up against Voldemort, he gets some help from Fawkes and the Sorting Hat, because he needs to fight against Voldemort, who can control the basilisk, because Voldemort is the heir of Slytherin. And because Harry is so brave, down in the Chamber of Secrets, a sword arises out of their Sorting Hat, the sword of Godric Gryffindor. Here we have the huge basilisk, and we can see Fawkes, Ginny, Voldemort, Harry, and Harry killed the giant snake with the sword, and he also kills Voldemort by forcing a basilisk fang inside the book, and there's no blood, but there's the memory in the diary is ink, so the ink, we have ink here, and if you look very closely, let me have a look, if I can show you in a better position, there you have it. If you look very closely, I think you can spot a dark mark down here. I think this is a very, very good and very detailed illustration, really like that. And finally, they can leave the Chamber of Secrets with the help of Fawkes, Lockhart, Ron, Ginny, Harry, the Sorting Hat. Chapter 18, Dobby's Reward. For a moment there was silence as Harry, Ron, Ginny and Lockhart stood in the doorway, covered in muck and slime and, in Harry's case, blood. Then there was a scream. "Ginny!" It was Mrs. Weasley, who had been sitting crying in front of the fire. Here is Lockhart. He looks pretty damaged. And here we can take a close look at the sword, and Harry learns that he is a true Gryffindor because the sword belongs to Godric Gryffindor, and only a Gryffindor could find a sword, the sword in the Sorting Hat. Another appearance of Dobby, who arrives at Dumbledore's office with his master, who is Mr. Malfoy, the father of Draco. So he's the house elf of the Malfoy family. And Harry frees Dobby from being a house elf at the Malfoys, and Dobby is very, very grateful. What a lovely picture. And finally, Hagrid returns from Azkaban. Everyone is so happy. And at the end of the school year, The students take the Hogwarts Express back to London's platform 9 3/4. Here we have the back paper once again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you will be notified when another video is ready for you to view. And until then, stay magical.